Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little fella right here, Arma from Manifest Destiny. It is a 3 to 5 player trick-taking game, kind of, but it has some special powers, differing factions, variable player powers on those factions. So it has a pretty cool idea that's behind it, you know, trick-taking with variable player powers. So let's get down to the table. I'll show you how it works. Then we'll come back with some final thoughts a little bit later on. Now, before we get into gameplay, I just wanted to show you a couple of different examples of what the decks might look like. For example, here, the dragons here, I told you that they are numbered 1 to 10 for the cards, and each card has a power that will be in battle, which is their number, and then they also have a special ability that you'll use if it is played face down as one of your skill cards. The 1 and the 9 card are specific or special to that specific faction. In other words, these two cards are the ones that are different from the other factions in the game, but all of the other ones are identical. So, for example, just to give you an idea, a special ability of the Dragon faction is that during resolve, you and only you are not crunched if two numbers are the same. So we'll get into this a little bit more, but when you play a card down and its number is the same as the other one, both of those cards are eliminated in determining who is going to win some of these point cards up here. And then the 9 over here is Hellfire. And this one says the players with the highest numbers are crunched. And then the other cards that are in here, you have shield cards, which all skills this round except Awakening are nullified. So if this is one of the cards that you decided to flip over for that specific round, then it'll nullify all the other skills. You also have Power, which allows you to add or subtract 2 to your own number. And then you have Miracle, says flip face down one of your own face-up skills, not Awakening. So when you flip something up and you play this card as a skill, you'd be able to flip it down for later on. Then you also have Curse, which subtracts 3 from all other players' numbers. And then Grouping says play an extra card from your hand, add the 2 numbers together during resolve. And so all of these other numbers, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10, are represented in all the other factions. Now, each round takes place in roughly 4 phases. You have a start of the round where the relic deck is going to be filled back up, and then you also have a main step where cards are going to be played out of your hand. Then there's going to be a resolve phase where we determine who is the winner of the point card that's out here, and then you have a end of the round phase where the turn order is determined, and that is determined by whoever has the most points goes first, and then consecutively back, and so forth and so on. So during the start of the round, we just make sure that there are 3 relics out here and available for procurement during the resolution phase. Then we go on to phase 2, which is the main step where we play cards out of our hands. And then once everybody has chosen a card from their hand, we have the opportunity of doing one of 3 different things. The first thing you can do is simply use a skill. So at this point, you would choose to flip over one of the cards that are your skill cards in front of you. We're going to go ahead, the humans will flip over this card. And then let's say that the beasts don't want to use any of their skills at this point. The gods, we would actually do this in order. So we would have to go beasts, gods, humans, and then fairies. So I did this one a little bit prematurely, so I apologize for that. Now, the other 2 things that you can do is you can Awaken, which is the 1 skill card from all of the decks. And if you choose to flip that face up, then you have Awakened and you can activate that power at any point in the future during the course of the game. The third thing that you can do is Regroup, which simply means taking up all of your face down skill cards that are still here, putting them back in your hand, and then refilling. So it's kind of like a tactical retreat type of thing, but you are basically forfeiting this hand and pulling your lot, so to speak, for trying to get some points here for that one turn. But once all of those actions are taken place, the cards are revealed that we have played out front. and the resolve takes place. So, for example here, this was not played as a skill card, this is played as a number card. So when you're played out of your hand like this, the bottom here has no effect, just the number up at the top. And we are resolving. Whoever played the highest number, generally speaking, is the one who will be able to choose what card he wants or she wants to take as reward for winning this battle, so to speak. But there are some caveats. If you have two numbers that are the same, they crunch each other out, so they would actually negate. So the 7s here negate, then we go down to the highest number after that. 6 is over here, and 1 is over here. So that is a winner, generally speaking, the 6. But because the humans played their skill card, this one says, very succinctly, it says, treat one relic in the relic area as red and invoke a giant killing. Now, what that means is a special thing that if one of these relic cards was red, like this one right here, then let's just place this here for a second. If this were the case, 2s would be a killing number, and they would be considered as most powerful because this is a red 2 card. But maybe there's a red 1 down there, and then 1s would be a killing number, and they would be considered highest, and so forth and so on. So with the human's skill card here, it says that we can treat one of these relics as a red relic and invoke a giant killing. So they are going to choose the starship over here, which is a 1, and they have played a 1, which means that the 1 is now the most powerful card in this trick. Additionally, what can happen here, instead of just taking one card, they can choose, since it's a giant killing situation here, they can choose to take all the cards of one color instead of just one card. And these are now points for them at the end of the game. So that would be the resolution. These cards would go into a discard pile. Now, the discard pile is something a little bit different as well. The discard pile is simply off to the side over here, and every time you play or more cards are discarded, they are placed to the right. And then once a 4th card would have been added to your discard pile, the leftmost one comes back into your hand. So your discard pile can only have 3 cards in it at most. When a 4th card is added to it, the leftmost one comes back to you into your hand to be used again. Then at the end of the round, we would see who has the most points. And right now, yellow is the only one that has points, so they definitely have the most. They would become the first player, and everybody else would shift down. And then at the start of the next round, we need to make sure that the relic deck is filled. So we would take and do this. And then a new round starts. Like I said earlier, 10 rounds of this are played or until the relic deck is run out, and whoever has the most points is the winner. There is a bonus points that if you have the most of any one color, and again, there are only 3 colors, blue, green, and red. If you have the most of any given color, you get a bonus number of points equal to how many of that color card you have. So if you had the most blue with 4 blue cards, then you would get a bonus 4 points added to your score. And whoever has the most points is the winner. So that is Arma from Manifest Destiny. Now, I do tend to enjoy trick-taking games as long as they don't have too much convolution in them. And they pretty much stay close to that idea of playing a card from my hand, winning a trick, getting points, so forth and so on. Now, with that having been said, I thought that this one was, while it wasn't bad, it didn't really give me much of anything new either. So it was kind of neither here nor there for me. Some pros for the game are quite simple. I like the artwork. Now, while I like the artwork, I thought that they could have done a little bit more with it. I thought that they could have done a little bit more, included a little bit more artwork. I know that would have cost more money, but that's what I want. I think that I like the artwork, but I wanted more of it, not so much anything else. Now, another pro is the fact that this plays very simply, actually. But that also leads into another con. I think it plays a little bit too simply. Yes, there is some thought process that has to go into when to use your skills, what skills you're going to choose, that type of thing, when to use your awakening skill, when to regroup possibly and change your strategy and all this other kind of stuff. There are decisions to be made there. But at the same time, there also, to me at least, it felt very, not really so much as a luck of the draw, but luck of did I choose correctly? Did I get into my opponent's minds correctly on this turn? Or, hey, I totally whiffed and I'm totally messed up. Another pro of the game, and I already kind of mentioned that this would probably be a pro, you probably got the feeling, is the fact that there are variable player powers. I like games that do that, where I have an ability that nobody else at the table has. I enjoy it when games give that differentiation between the different players that are taking part in the game. But again, at the same time, I thought that the differentiation that was there wasn't as great as I would have liked it to be. Furthermore, you could possibly choose just simply not to use those special powers and play it as a straight up thing. So they were special powers that only I had, yes, but then I had to also choose to use them, which may have taken away from some other strategy that I was trying to employ at any given point in the game. So it was almost like it gave me the ability to use the powers, but it wasn't an inherent ability that I could always use. I had to forego doing something else in order to use my special power, and I don't really like that caveat of variable player powers in games. If I have a variable player power, I want it to always be in effect. So all in all, I think that this is an interesting game as far as gameplay is concerned. I think there are a good number of decisions that you can make, and they're somewhat meaty decisions, but in the end, sometimes with almost any trick-kicking game, it can feel like a simple luck of the draw type thing. But this one is a little bit less than that because you can see people's discard piles, so you are able to kind of make more informed decisions on what card is a probable winner in any given point throughout the game. And of course, the later on in the game you get, the more information you have, because even though that discard pile is being cycled, you know that that card just came back up into their hand and they have it in their hand, and you get all of that. So I do like it, but I didn't like it a lot. So this one's just going to fall right smack dab in the middle of the road for me, a 5 out of 10, because I enjoy it. I like what they were trying to do, but I just didn't like the overall implementation and the overall feeling that the game gave me. I just didn't get it. I just didn't feel it. If you get my meaning there, I know that's kind of a nebulous concept almost, but it just missed the mark for me. So that's it from me for Arma from Manifest Destiny. We'll see you guys on the flip side.